Hello everybody, it's me, the Real Local Maniac. I'm back again with another game review. Now as you can see, today I'll be playing the Simpsons Arcade game on the Commodore 64. Now straight from the get-go guys, I'm going to tell you how amazing this game is, and that's a word that I'll be using throughout the whole review because this game is absolutely amazing. Now starting from this amazing intro here, which is basically like the cartoon intro, which is also featured in the arcade game. And how on earth they managed to fit all this in is completely out of this world. I don't know how they managed to do it. Check that out, Homer's 35 years old. Now, the funny thing is, when I first started watching The Simpsons, I was about 11, and I'm 34 now. But back when I was 11, I thought, wow, look at Homer, he's 35, fat and bald, and hey, that pretty much describes me now. But anyway, back to the Commodore 64 review. Look how good this game is. I mean, the intro, this is just the intro, and this has just got me thinking, wow. So imagine what all the youngsters must have thought back in the day when they first played this game. It must have just completely blown their mind. Completely and totally. Now, I'm going to be bold and state that this game probably is the best scrolling beat-em-up on the Commodore 64. You know, way better than Double Dragon, way better than Target Renegade. I did think Target Renegade was a pile of crap really on the Commodore 64. I know a lot of Commodore 64 fans are going to sort of go, oh no, Target Renegade was actually really good. Yeah, it had nice music. And as stated in the 8-Bit Wars, which was recently done by Swaney, you'll see it really wasn't that good when you compare it to the other versions. But yeah, going back to this game, again, look at this. It's got this amazing intro there that tells you why the Simpsons are on this mission. Basically, Maggie's been kidnapped, and it's up to the four heroes there to basically beat the way through Springfield and save their beloved baby. Again, look at that. It's just all these little things that you could excuse the programmers not including in the game because it was an 8-bit computer, but they managed to do it. And that's what amazes me so much. Now, the first thing I want to talk about the music. So I'm going to be quiet for a second or two, and you guys can enjoy the music. Now guys, how amazing was that music? Absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how well it will come across in the video, but it really is good. Now the next thing I want to talk about is the graphics. Now I'm not going to talk about the sprites first of all, I'm going to talk about the background graphics. Now most of the time when you played Scroll and Beat 'em Up, the background graphics didn't really have any character. They were just there, just to sort of like be there, just to set the tone of the game. But this, look, all the shops have got names, they've got little signs in the window. It really adds so much atmosphere. It basically does feel like you're playing, you know, in Springfield. And these are all the elements that made the arcade game fantastic. And even there, when Homer Simpson dies and he comes flying in, that's like Super Homer. All these things that you could have forgiven, honestly, the programs not including in the game. But they've managed to do it. And I know that's the second time I've said it, but it really is amazing how they've managed to do it. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the actual sprites themselves. They're all beautifully animated, they all stand out. Homer looks like Homer. All the baddies as well, I don't know those baddies, those are generic sort of Simpson type baddies. But along the way, later on in the game, you'll find some sort of familiar looking faces that you fight against. But again, look at that little creature there on the pet store. I don't know whether that's a gerbil or whether that's like some sort of like rabbit or dog or whatever. But yeah, it's waggling its tail. Now, the collision detection in this is really good actually. When you do hit a baddie, you do hit him, and that's one of the things that I felt was always lacking with Target Renegade on the Commodore 64. When you hit them, it didn't feel like you hit them. You know, it was more hit or miss basically. It's just sometimes you hit them, sometimes you didn't, even though you're standing right in front of them. But this, you always feel like you're actually in control of the game. And it just moves around at a nice, decent pace. It's really beautifully animated. You've got a nice playing area there as well. But those things, like when the Springfield Fire Department, those fences opened, it still amazes me how they managed to do that, guys. Completely out of this world. Now, I just want to point out, I don't do enough Commodore 64 reviews, and I started thinking, you know what, I am going to try and do a few more Commodore 64 reviews. I tend to sort of do Spectrum, and don't get me wrong, I love my Spectrum, but I do feel like I'm missing out on the Commodore 64, because I had all three machines. I had the Spectrum, Amstrad and the Commodore 64, and that's something I hope to change throughout the next couple of months. You know, I intend to do loads more sort of different systems, like, you know, the Amstrad and the Commodore 64. And again, guys, like the way the fire door thing opened up there, revealing the fire engine. This game's just so arcade perfect, it's just unbelievable. It really is like just a little bit scaled down version. It's got all the levels, it's got everything basically. And I'll probably have to go and say this is probably in the top 5 best arcade conversions ever on any bit computer, because it really is that good. I love Double Dragon 2 on the Amstrad. It's a really great looking game, but again, I think this is even better than that, how good this is, because this moves at like an amazing rate. You know, you'd think a game looking this good would really slow down, but no, it really moves around nicely. And again, look at the size of that sprite there, the baddie. Again, you know, his trousers are falling down. They could have just done away with that sort of like little funny gag there, but no, they've done it, and it adds, again, everything that made the arcade game work. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is like the colour scheme. Now, even though I had a Commodore 64, I was never a big fan of the Commodore 64 colour scheme, but I think it really suits the world of The Simpsons really well. Absolutely suits it, you know. And the blockiness, again, of the Commodore 64, again, adds itself really well to this style of game, because it really does work. Now, I'm so glad that this game did come out on the Commodore 64, because at the time, The Simpsons were really popular. They still are, but not as popular as they were back in the days. And when we did finally get a Simpsons game, it was that really awful Simpsons, what was it, Bart versus the Space Mutants? Now, yeah, fair enough, it was alright, but it wasn't what we wanted. What we wanted to play was this. And the Commodore 64 owners got it. The Amstrad and Spectrum owners didn't, unfortunately. I'll quickly tell you guys, if you haven't played this before, I highly recommend that you try and get a version, because this is absolutely amazing. Look at that. If you haven't played this, definitely give it a go. I highly recommend. This is like a 10 out of 10 game. I'm the Rule Locomania. I shall see you next time. Goodbye.